Hi, and welcome to Creative Life TV. I'm Linda Peterson. Have you heard? Mixed media collage is taking the craft industry by storm, and you can do it. I'm going to share with you a couple of my favorite techniques to get you started creating your own mixed media collage art. I'm really excited about sharing this project with you. I'm going to share a couple of my favorite techniques with you, and there is no right or wrong. So jump in, have fun, and keep it simple. That's what I can say for this project. This is a 12 by 6 inch art canvas. Something that you would put an oil painting or an acrylic painting on. I have not put any gesso. All I'm using is decoupage medium and newsprint. So I have cut up several pieces of the newspaper paragraphs, and I'm going to just decoupage them on to my directly onto my canvas. This is laying the base for my canvas here. And of course I use my fingers to spread out my decoupage medium. I think that's one of the greatest things about doing mixed media art is that you get to experience everything. And I love that my hands can feel the different textures and really get into my work. So let's finish this off here. There's no rhyme or reason. Some of my copy goes up and down, some of it goes side to side. You just want to make sure that you cover the entire surface of your canvas, and I've even left some of the edges hanging over. We'll fix that later. It's an easy fix. Try to put down your biggest pieces first and then fill in with your smaller pieces. That'll keep you from going crazy from having to handle all those little tiny bits and pieces of paper. So give this a good coat over the top. When you decoupage, you can see I put the glue down onto the canvas, and then I'm putting it, sometimes you can put it on the back of the paper that you're applying and then put it over the top. So make sure this is all completely sealed down and let this dry. So once your canvas is completely dry, I went around my canvas and I sanded the edges just like this. I've got a little tag left here to show you. And if you'll just sand the edges, then it'll thin the paper out and you can peel it right off. It's nice, neat, and even. Over here I have some acrylic paint. I have an eggshell color and a white color, and this right here, even though it looks like white paint, is actually a glaze. Glaze makes your paint translucent, and so what we're going to do is I'm just going to apply a wash, a real light white wash over the top of this. Now some areas are going to look really heavy, and some areas are going to look like they have hardly any paint on them at all. That's okay, because we're just applying a really interesting background and everything goes. So just kind of slap that paint on just like that. I have a big wide brush. Now here's a fun way to paint. I have some plastic wrap here, and what you'll do is you'll just add a little bit of the paint. This is kind of like a monotone paint. I don't want to put too much because I personally want to see some of that newsprint kind of shine through there. So let's wad this up, and then we're just going to go over the top of this and kind of stamp. Just gives a real mottled effect. And you're going to do this over the whole surface then of this canvas. You can also texture with some bubble wrap or anything that you have lying around the house that you think would add an interesting texture. It can be the rim, maybe this is kind of large, this is a mason jar, but it could be the rim of a bottle top. Anything that you want that's going to create an interesting and pleasing background. Don't overdo it. And if you do, you can paint over this white again, put a new coat of newsprint, and you can start all over. So you're not going to make a mistake. But you're going to go over this with the white and the off-white to create a real interesting background. Now we're going to apply the focal point of our mixed media collage, which is a sunflower. And to do that, I collect ephemera books, and you can get these sometimes pretty reasonable at thrift stores. This one happens to be from 1865, but I love it because it's got a lot of journaling, a lot of writing in it. I also have this sheet here that I got from a music book that's pretty old as well. And so I'll have these as available as a PDF on my website at lindapetersonlive.com. Now what I've done, you can see that I have already decoupaged the sunflower, and then I used the music to create my pot. But all I did really was, for the center, I just tore out a circle. So I cut the square about the size that I wanted the center of my flower. And I'm just tearing out a random circle. Doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm going to cut just with my scissors, and I'll have a pattern for this if you want to be a little bit more precise, but that really doesn't matter. I'm just cutting leaf shapes. So some of them are fat and some of them are skinny, and you're going to line those all the way up. Remember to work from the bottom up, and you're going to decoupage these on and wait for this to dry. Then we'll go on to, we've got 2 more techniques left. We're going to go on to the next step, and we'll begin to color our flower. This is where the fun really begins, because this is where it's going to start to take shape and come to life, and we're adding details and bringing it to life. And this is where your personality is really going to take shape. So now I have 3 colors, or actually I have 2 colors of acrylic paint. I have a mustardy yellow and a warm color of red. We're going to mix those 2 together. It'll make an orange. And then the white here is the glaze that makes it translucent. So side load your brush. And I'm going to paint really just on the one side of the petal. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back and I'm going to just add a little bit of red on the side of my brush, and when I mix that in, I get a little bit of orange there. I'm going to come in and I'm going to add some orange down here. Just really working with the side of my brush. Okay, you're going to work this all the way around until you have your petal colored. And when we come back after it dries, I'll show you what that looks like, and we'll move on to our pot down at the bottom. We've accomplished so much so far, and all we've really done is we've decoupaged and we've stamped with some unusual materials and painted a little bit. So now I've already started on my on this pot down here, and what I have is some distress ink, and I'm just going to rub it over. It's easier to do on this pot because it's such a large area, and that's why you can do this. But you're going to rub it over, and the cool thing is if you've applied a glossy collage medium or a decoupage medium, it kind of makes it a little like it's a resist. And you can come back, you can put a piece of bubble wrap and then lift it off, and it kind of lifts away some of the pattern there. I'm going to go ahead and finish out my my pot here, and then I'm going to work on the sunflower just a little bit more. Then we're going to go on to our final step. All right, before we wrap up this segment, I want to share with you one last technique, and that is coming in and using your charcoal pencil. This is a pretty soft pencil, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to outline some of my leaves here and blend with my finger. This really sets it off. It breaks up the petals, it kind of lifts the sunflower off of the page and gives it a lot of extra detail. I'll also go around with a permanent marker and give it a little bit more fine detail as well. So I'm going to outline everything, all of my elements with my charcoal pencil. I'm also going to add additional layers of texture on top. So I have things like not rubber stamps, I have foam stamps, I have rubber stamps. Of course, you saw the technique with the bubble wrap. So look for things around the house that would give you an interesting texture, and they could be something as simple as the top off of your paint and dip it in paint and add some little circles. Lots and lots of fun things. I'm also, my very last step will be to just decoupage a phrase on here, and you can either print one out from your computer or you can tear one out of a magazine. So now I'd like to show you what my finished sunflower project looks like.